Welcome to the Dynamics of Everyday Life, where we demystify some tricky concepts and get to know ourselves a little bit better. Welcome back to the show, everyone. As I prepare this episode, I've been dog-sitting for one of my friends, and I am really going to struggle when it's time for him to go home. He is beyond cute. He's not a problem to have around the house, and I've had a constant shadow who virtually gives me a standing ovation every time I walk in a room. What's not to love? It also comes with a level of responsibility. He's someone else's beloved pet, and I need to make sure that he's okay whilst he's with me. I need to make the right decisions for him, what he's eating, where in the garden he's going, what time of day do we go for a walk, especially in the heat. How do I make sure he's eating and drinking enough? Now, I've had dogs before. I've also got 2 children. So I'm fairly confident in the decisions that I make for him, especially now we have established who is in charge of the pack. And it's not him, despite what he initially thought. And this has got me thinking around decisions and our confidence in them. If I'm honest, I have had moments where I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed in my business. I love talking about psychodynamics and I love training coaches. I wouldn't say I love sales and marketing. And I can get very busy on LinkedIn, posting and commenting about things, pretending to myself that I am being extremely productive. And yes, I'm not. It's not my world. I don't know how to do this well. Regular listeners will remember I went to an event earlier in the year and I was hugely disappointed. I thought I was going to get loads of Road to Damascus style moments. Nope, didn't even feed me well. Have I got a return on investment for this trip? Hardly. I mean, I did get in a trip to my parents, which was good, but I also got a lot of mum guilt for leaving my daughter during her A-levels, which, if I'm honest, it still doesn't sit desperately well with me. So why did I go? I thought I could get lots of advice from people who all knew better than me. People who could understand the challenges I was going through as a small business owner and give me some tangible advice that I could apply and that it would work. What I got was a lot of people telling me things that I already knew, and one speaker even told me to put my hand on my heart and feel my own energy through my heartbeat. Yeah, like that's going to be the start of the stampede of sign-ups. Would that it were. I wish that I could say that I'd learned from this event, if only. Now, a quick caveat. I have sought the advice of a couple of people who I do respect and value, and it's paid dividends. But I've also found myself doom scrolling through social media, wondering whether I should follow a million different people's advice. Maybe I should start posting videos that will get me out of 200 viewers jail. But when I really think about it, getting 2 million viewers or subscribers means absolutely nothing if they're the wrong people. And yet, still the thought goes through my head. So why do we do this? What's going on for us in these moments when we're questioning ourselves and outsourcing our decision-making capabilities to people that we wouldn't trust to tell us which chocolate bar we're going to enjoy the most? Well, when we're overwhelmed, our confidence starts to shrink. We've talked before about decision fatigue. In a very vacuous way, when I get my nails done, that's often one decision too many for me. But the only other person I'm going to let pick a colour that I'm going to live with for several weeks is my friend who's been doing my nails for years. And yes, weeks. You can take the girl out of Yorkshire, you can't take Yorkshire out of the girl. Manicures aren't cheap, so it needs to last. I digress. So, when we're flooded with decisions, we can start to outsource our thinking to any available brain, even if it's not a good one. We start to regress. Our confident adult part steps back, and a younger, more uncertain part shows up and grabs onto those external voices. We all also have the fantasy of the right answer. When we feel lost, we we assume that someone else knows better or has the better idea than us. So when I've trained people to be coaches, I've often been asked, what's the best question or the most powerful question? And the answer is that it's the one that's right for the client in the moment. There is no one size fits all. Much as we'd like there to be this perfect answer, there really isn't. So from a psychodynamic perspective, there are quite a few things that are going on. A lot of this is taken up with introjected authority figures. Introjection is when you accidentally swallow someone else's opinion whole and you mistake it for your own. It's like you're downloading dodgy software without reading the terms and conditions, and then you start to wonder why your brain's glitching. It usually starts early in life. Maybe there's a parent or a teacher or an older sibling, and what happens is we absorb their beliefs or criticisms as if they're our own. So even when they're not around anymore, that voice still pops up. Don't get too big for your boots, or that'll never work. The tricky bit is, when you're overwhelmed or doubting yourself, you can't always tell it's their voice. It just feels like it's your own inner wisdom. But it's not. It's an old download that you forgot to uninstall. And this can lead us neatly into the idea of transference. We can start transferring our old patterns onto current advice givers. We needed our parents' advice on how to use cutlery, how to cross the road safely when we were small. So we took their advice as being the only truth, as it kept us safe. But this doesn't equate now. And our brain's main job is to keep us alive. A harsh, dismissive voice is always going to grab our attention more than a supportive one, as we have a drive to keep ourselves alive. If there's an idea that's swimming around that we aren't doing something right, then we're going to listen to that as a survival mechanism because we're too worried about what might happen if we don't. So how does this show up in the real world? There's quite a few examples that I'm sure that are familiar to you, especially if you are a small business owner. So we've got the networking group know-it-all who's never run a business, but they have very strong feelings about your pricing. I mean, the pricing one for a coach is it's such a tricky one to be in because you've got people giving all realms of advice here. We've also got family members who think what you do is cute, but not serious. So it's almost like a little Etsy side project to, keep you busy, but it's not actually anything serious. And then we've got the friend with the 2007 eBay business experience who now fancies himself as your strategic advisor and business guru. I bet you have several examples of your own that are popping into your mind right now. And it's easy to hand over your decision-making capabilities to these people because we can get stuck in these ideas. But what to do about it? Well, it's always good to apply the sandwich test. Would I let this person choose my lunch? If not, why on earth would I let them choose my business strategy? And think about where you are at that moment and what your intention is for asking advice. Am I feeling confident and raring to go? And, I just want to check in with some other ideas that might be out there. Or am I feeling frazzled and overwhelmed and I'm grasping for the hidden key that's going to make everything turn out okay? Have a think about who's in your circle of advisors. Do they deserve to be there? Do a quick mental check of how people got into the circle. Do they have the relevant experience and genuine investment in your success? And think about what you're good at. Chances are there's more in your back catalogue than you realise. My invitation to you this week is for you to consider who's got a seat at your business table and who has the menu. Do they get to order for you? Try the sandwich test this week. Check what your initial responses are. They're normally a pretty good indicator of what's going on for you. And, as always, give yourself some grace. Feeling overwhelmed and wanting someone to help you out when you're feeling lost is an extremely human response. Think of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She went all the way to the Emerald City to ask for the wizard's help, when in the end, all she needed was to realise that she could get herself home. But she had to make that journey to realise that for herself, and it wasn't easy. Before we close, I want to share with you a couple of things that are coming up. So in early September, which really isn't far away now, I'm doing a webinar with Scott Warren around our defence mechanisms that come into play when we're thinking about pricing. As I mentioned earlier, that is always a tricky topic for us coaches. It's definitely worth coming along to that. Also, my course, Essential Psychodynamics for Coaches, we start again in September. I am so excited. The first round was fantastic. We had a fabulous group of coaches, lots of learning and discussion. Now, if you don't want to miss out, and there's a fantastic group already shaping up, come and join us. There's some psychodynamic fun to be had. So send me a DM or an email and we can have a chat. There's also my weekly LinkedIn live sessions. I'm doing these on Monday afternoons at 2:30, so come and join the fun in these, unless it's a bank holiday, and then, sorry, it's James Bond time for me then. Looking at ourselves at this level can be challenging and unnerving as we develop our awareness, so I'd always encourage that you do this at your own speed. To have a chat about psychodynamics and find out more about the different ways that you can work with me, either as a trainer, coach, supervisor or mentor, then click on the link that's in the show notes. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Dynamics of Everyday Life. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. As well as producing this podcast, The Dynamics of Everyday Life has lots more psychodynamic fun going on, and you can find out more at dynamicsofeveryday.life.